All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Labor Day. Welcome here. I'm surprised you're all here. So if you're here, great. Good to see you. If you're out gallivanting around the country doing fun stuff, then wow, thanks for waking up and hanging out with us a little bit today. So it's Monday. It's Labor Day. We're going to start a new week. I'm just going to run regular schedule this week. I got a couple of things to go over with here. And again, I'm going to put the PCs in front of, or you put PCs in front of your quotes, please, so I can see them in the chats. But yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Old Bay. Goldie's here as well, it looks like. And Ron here, California Craps Club. And Ian, a playing partner. We had a good time over the weekend at our local. Good time, he says, when he, for the second day in a row, exercises no discipline. I can tell you that story later. We went up to Toledo to kind of talk to some of the bosses up there to see about getting ourselves that private table, and stayed a little too long, probably. It is what it is, though. I was not on puppy patrol, really. I was actually, I was putting in some numbers, you'll see here in a minute, for the big Monster Roll review thing. And I was copying and pasting, and I didn't realize what time it was. I lost track of time. So sorry about that. But good review this morning, Joe, by the way. Lots going on. Let's actually talk about it. Let's see what's happening in the world today. So we got... on tap for the day, by the way, Daily Paycheck is going to be at 9 o'clock, so in an hour. I'm starting a new month in September, so we're going to a new strategy. We're going to be doing the 3-point Johnny, 3-point Molly. The difference is 3-point Johnny is more conservative, way more conservative. It kind of speaks to me, right? So the 3-point Molly is a pass line bet, max odds, 2 come bets, max odds, shit runner go blind. That's the strategy. The 3-point Johnny is the same thing, but I usually bypass the come out roll. I like to get the number set, but we can do the come out roll. It's fine. But what I do is I let all 3 bets get set. So pass line, no odds. Come bet, no odds. Come bet, no odds. Then when they're all 3 set, then I put the odds up, which sometimes costs me a win on a buckshot or on a quick repeat. I don't get that immediate win with the odds on it, but I let the 7 sort of sing and dance for a few rolls, and then I go in at it, right? That's the main difference. The other difference is that I take progressive odds. So I'll do 1x on the 4 and 10. I'll do 2, 3x on the 5 and 9, and max on the 6 and 8. That's really the only difference. Mine's just a lot more conservative with a small bankroll. It's a better way to do it, I think, just because you're preserving money as you go through. Mathematically speaking, the Molly's the better way. Maximize your odds whenever you can. But if you're light in the wallet, you really can't afford max odds. Right, so we're gonna do it a little bit of both ways, just to run it out there. So it's gonna need me to throw good. I'm gonna have to throw good to make this thing work. If it all holds true, I should lose about 1% of my bankroll this month. Right, I should go out there, and again, we go out there with about $1,500 every day. So about over 20 days, we're gonna put whatever that is, 30 grand at risk, cumulatively over the days. So we should probably lose about $500 over the course of the month, right? If I can be disciplined and get lucky and get out, we're gonna win. So that's the new paycheck starts in about an hour. So there's that. Coming up, I talked to Big AZ last night. He and I filmed. He's got a new challenge going on, and we filmed my session last night. No spoilers there, but he did tell me he's got 2 Chiro specials coming this week. I think it's Chiro's Yahtzee challenge and Chiro's another one that he did that are coming out this week. Ahead of the memorial service. So look forward to that. As soon as I know those dates, I'll publish them here so we all know. Be nice to kind of watch and give some love Chiro's way. Yeah, that's it for that. On the Chiro topic, by the way, if you're coming, let me know. Just let me know in Discord. Go to the Mid-Moyo channel on my Discord. If you're coming, let me know. Just because I'm talking to Crystal today, and I want to give her a kind of a head count if I can. Give her close to a head count if I can do it. So let me know if you're coming. We appreciate that. And let's see what else is happening in the world. Ken has been working the A to Z gambling series, which is great. If you're not watching that, you should watch that. Most of you who are watching this show live, especially, are beyond that. You all know all the rules. You know the basics. Ken's really going after more of the, I don't want to say younger crowd, but the newer gamblers, and trying to give them a good level set of like kind of the reality check and that kind of thing. But it's good. It's a good series. Get in the chat, because when we're in the chat talking to his newer viewers, that just helps them out, right? So get out there and do that. And mark the point, Ryan's got a bunch of interviews coming up and a lot of other cool stuff on the way. So stay tuned to Mark the Point. It's a great channel. He's doing some really good work there. It really is. It's fun to watch some of the new guys just really come after it. You know what I mean? And sort of take control. And we always talk about like finding your niche. Like, what is your thing that you're great at? Right. And Ryan just got this awesome energy, and he's using the energy. He's interviewing. He's doing really good. So I'm glad to see that. Joe did the first I don't want to even say it's a trip report, but he did his first show today after the big return. And he went through Alfredo's monster roll. Alfredo had like a 66 roller, I think, to finish up the trip, which again, they don't happen very often. And Alfredo, if you were paying attention, he'll tell you in his trip report, I don't want to ruin the whole thing for him, but he was even, down a little bit, even, went way down, clawed his way back, and then had the monster roll. So he did kind of the tread and water thing and then popped it at the end. Corey had a great roll or two during that trip. Those guys crushed it, right? But again, it doesn't always happen day one. And as Joe will attest, it doesn't always happen when you're there. I think Joe wasn't on the table for the big roll, which is unfortunate. But that's the way it is, right? You're not always going to be there when the thing happens. But they happen. And I'm glad that it happened to our crew. So I can't wait to hear that story. I know that Jeff and the guys in Atlantic City, Ed from Roll to Win showed up in AC and played with them. I got some funny stuff from Chris. Chris told me a funny little story down there about that trip. So I'm looking forward to all the reports. It's going to be great. Obviously, we've got one coming up too. We have our PNW meetup coming up in 2 weeks. So I got Jeremy from Color Up coming out. Alfredo's going to be here. Corey's going to be here. Jen's going to be here. Of course, Ian and I think Galen R. Glenn's going to be coming up from Portland. A couple other folks are flying in for it. And I know a lot of folks from around this area. It's really a meetup for the people in the area that are coming north and around. So we have private table down at Snoqualmie Casino for 4 or 5 hours. We're going to have not a private table. They won't block the table off for us at Tulalip, but Ian and I went and scouted the place Saturday. We went there at exactly 1 o'clock to see what it would look like at 1 o'clock when we are all there. And it was pretty much dead. There was 4 people at the table. And so we will swoop in and own that table. They said they will open up a second table for us if need be. So we overcrowd the table. Here comes another one. So that's handled. We got both casinos are on. It's going to be tight. We got hats coming. We're going to go to the Mariners game on Sunday. By the way, if you're going to come, the Mariners game, we thought the tickets were going to be $22. They're actually $36 because now they're good and tickets are hard to come by. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. You need that shirt and you're like, this is the greatest shirt or what? That's what she said. Isn't it the greatest shirt? I love this thing. I got that for my birthday last year. Yeah, I saw that, Joe. I was saying earlier, Joe did a review of the 66 roller. I think you played it out. You basically ran the rolls and bet it in Crapsy this morning, which is cool. I'd love for you to actually share the rolls. If you have the sheet, share the roll sheet. And I can do like a big AZ style breakdown too, where I do all the math on it and kind of show like what that looked like in summary view. I think it's cool. When those things happen, man, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, all right, let's go. Let's move on. Let's get ahead here a little bit and see what else is happening. The daily paycheck recap. So here we are. We finished up the 678. I did 2 lives yesterday that weren't live. So here's the way this works. Sorry, but on Sundays, not on Sunday, when I go live in the garage, when I prep everything up down here and get it all set up in YouTube, I go out to the garage, I can click the button and say, yeah, make that video happen. If I go out there and just go to shoot, there's no way to do that. It goes live, but the button that makes it public is grayed out for whatever reason. I got to figure it out. So I'm live, but it's private, so nobody can see it. So what happens is I go live, do the thing, and then I end the show. Then I go to YouTube and I click the button that says make it public. So it's really the live that I pushed out, the 2 that I pushed out yesterday. I went live, then I clicked the button, and they were live like 5 seconds after the actual show was done. So live in air quotes they are, but I finished up the 678. Both of those won a paycheck. That thing went 18-2. The one loss, the first loss we had on day 2 was both losses, by the way, were misplacements. So that thing should be 20-0. By all accounts, it's 20-0, and I'll explain what I mean by that. The first time we lost, I did the same thing twice actually. The first time we lost $350, and I do what I do, right? I'm at like, I think I was looking for 120. We were at $1,200 that day. I was at like 95 or $100. I'm like, we need $20 more, and never got the $20. And in fact, went down about $300 that first day. And then I had a work meeting. So I stopped the show. We were down 300 and change, which happens. when you're playing Paycheck, close enough has to be good enough. You might not always get the exact 10% or 20% you're shooting for. You get in the ballpark, you got to quit. Because the second loss on here is a $1,200 loss. Okay, the $1,200 loss came on a day where I had the Paycheck, right? I actually made $165. Looking for 150, I made 165 or 163, whatever it was that day. Had the Paycheck. And I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to leave our money out there. We're going to go for one more win. One more box hit win would have been $35. I think I had 110 inside at the time. That would give us $44. We could have done a 44 inside excess play. Excess play. Well, what happened? I lost like 15 bets in a row and burned $1,200. Just like that, right? We were at Paycheck and I burned the Paycheck win and the whole bankroll that day. Stupidity, right? What I say here in the first bullet point, discipline is the king of all things when you're playing Paycheck style. It's nice to go for the wins when you're playing entertainment style or when you're in excess mode. But when you're at Paycheck mode, you got to quit when you're there. And sometimes there means there plus $15. Sorry, you're not going to get excess today. Sometimes there means there minus $15. You're not going to get Paycheck today, but that's close enough, right? Especially on days like, I think my second show last night was like 55 minutes. And we ground through that freaking thing forever. And I got almost to, I got like 142. I'm like, screw it, I'm done. Like, I can't do it. I can't go anymore. Like, I had to stop it, right? If you're going to grind that hard and work that hard for it, you got to, at some point, just call it quits, right? Paycheck play requires extreme discipline. It's just all that there is to it. There's no home runs in Paycheck play. Now, there's home runs in excess play. Excess play is a big deal. You're going to see here in a minute the impact of excess play on the bankroll. I'm going to show you here why this works. What you're going to see in a minute is it explains my gambling life. And I've said this before, and I think Alfredo's in the audience. Hey, good morning, Alfredo. I think Alfredo has said this too. A lot of people can probably say this without quantifying it. I'm going to quantify it. I am ahead for my life. Not a lot of people can say they're ahead for their life in gambling. The reason why is because I play Paycheck excess style, right? When I go most of the time, now this weekend aside, right? We were there to have some fun. So I lost a little bit of money. But when I'm there and I'm like, and Ian will tell you, we were both up 20% like that. We had 2-3 great shooters in a row. We were both up. I think I won for 600. I was up to like 850 or something. I'm like, we should probably get the hell out of here, you know? But we wanted to stay and kind of chum up with the pit bosses. And you know, Ian is, dude, when you guys meet him in person, you'd be like, oh God, this guy, A, doesn't shut up, B, loud voice, C, everybody loves him. And he's just talking it up, and we were yucking it up and having a thing. And before you know it, I'm out of money, right? Like, that's what happens, right? Normally you leave. Paycheck play is what it is. You're not going to typically lose a ton of money. You're going to be up 10%, down 20, whatever, right? When you pop the excess wins is where you make your money. You'll see here when I show you the summaries, excess play makes up for it. And my life has had that. I've had, I don't know, maybe 10, I would say 5 to 10, I don't count them, enormous wins. Like 12,000 one time, 9,000 a couple of times, 5,000, yeah, right? These big wins make up for $100 losses, right? I mean, like you do that and over time, if I go 18-2 for all my Paycheck plays and one of those 18 wins $3,000 in excess, well, guess what? You're okay. That's what's happened here. Let me show you actually where we are. Let me pull this in here. So you may not know, but there's a new tool. There's a new tool in town. Let me switch to the screen. There's a new tool in town, and it is called the Session Logger. So I've done this for us here. This is a session logger that I've added to the Casino Gaming TV website. All you got to do, folks, is log in up here. If I do I think I have, let's get that out of there. Delete that stuff. I think all you got to do is this right here. See the log out button up there? If you log in, have a Discord account, you have the same screen that I got right. You have a session logger screen that you can log your life with. And all you do is you add the date, where you played, what strategy you worked on, your buy-in amount, where the money came from. Did it come from the bank or did it come from your excess? And how much you cashed out for. That's it. It keeps this is a full log so far of our entire Paycheck series, which is awesome. So I can actually click down here and go, hey, the Dolly Latterson went 16-4. And the Latterson actually lost $1,000 over the course of that time. My picture might be blurry, Ian. I got new cameras and I'm working on stuff. So the Latterson actually lost $1,000 over the course of time because we had a couple of big losses. Remember, if you remember in here, we had a couple of times where we went from 1,300, we lost $1,210 that day, right? We lost, let's see, where's the day? Here's the day we lost $110. And there's another day up here where we lost $700. So we had these big losses. It made 10% every time. 16 times it made $150 or whatever. 4 times it lost 1,000. Net down. Bummer. The 6, 7, 8 won $1,400 over the course of its time. However, here's the one, right? In for 15, out for 3. That was the day we lost $1,200, right? This is the day that I had the paycheck and I burned the whole damn thing, right? If I leave with the paycheck this day, this session here, instead of being $1,400, is actually up to $3,000, right? A little over 3K, but I burned $1,200 in one session by being a dumbass. Okay, so all told, if I look at only the bank sources, right? If I look at only the bank, right? In other words, the Blatterson plus the 6, 7, 8, buy in, make my 10%, I'm at $480. And again, those 6 losses up here were soul crushing losses, right? On the Blatterson, 3 of those were full bankroll losses. On the 6, 7, 8, one of them was a full bankroll loss. And the rest of them were small wins. Small wins, big losses adds up to treading water most of the time. That's why building a bankroll 10% at a time is really, really, really hard. You got to go undefeated to make it happen. It's going to be really hard to do this. Now, if you take the excess play, we had a couple of big ones. We had an excess play where we won 700 or 500. We had one where I won 2,000. A bunch of times we kind of bottomed out, but the excess play has generated 3K. So when I come back over here and I say, look, the excess play is a big deal right there. It's a big freaking deal. Excess play is huge. Excess play more than covered our losses. More than covered our losses. The excess play did a wonderful job for us, right? Now, your takeaway from this might be something like, well, if excess play is up $3,000 and all you did for excess play was shoot the freaking moon, maybe I should shoot the freaking moon all the time. Well, look at the excess numbers, right? It's 0, 0. We burned. We won a big one, burned it all, won $5, burned it all, won $400, won $30, burned it all. And again, burned it all. All the days that I burned it all with like little tiny money. These are all small little buy-ins. You're going for the home run with $1,000 and you don't get it. You're burning it all with $1,000. So we've caught in fire a couple times and gotten lucky, but yeah, excess play to me is where it's at. The excess play, let me get back to the other screen. Hold on, I got to minimize that. Excess play is how we do it. You're going to irk out your way. Excess will pop you up. And again, good decision making. I think the Monday morning quarterback of my play last month is 2 things to remember. 1, leave when you're up or leave when you're close. This should be 20-0. We should be up more than $3,000 for the month. Me making bad decisions is why we're down, not the strategy. I screwed it up, okay? The other thing is this, when you're in the excess, depending on how much you've got, make that excess meaningful. It's got to make you some money. That's why I either go come betting like I did yesterday or I go full hammer and make it work, because that's going to help you drive out some of the losses, all right? I did not like the easy version. And I said it yesterday. The quarter pounder with ease is a good strategy. However, from the don't, you either got to have a $50 don't and $300 in odds to cover the 165 that's out there. Way too much money on the small bankroll to have that kind of don't action. Or you're like yesterday, I was at 25 and 150 max odds and I'm undercut. So the 7 comes, you're losing money instead of making money. It was awful. I hated it yesterday. So I like the 25 and the 150, right? Minimum bet, max odds here. And I like having my across bets, all the across bets covered with a lower level. That's the way I like it. That or playing with a molly. Like the don't pass, to me, 6, 7, 8 don't pass horsemen with max odds would be a better way to play it than what we were doing last week. It was tough. But it's over with. The 6, 7, 8 did really good. It should be 20-0. I effed it up. I'm the two losses are me. They're me. I'm the 2 losses. So there it is. Good strategy. Now, moving ahead, I want to do some more Monday morning quarterbacking. And I want to talk about the monster roll. So we spent all last week playing the monster roll. We did the 51 roller from Big AZ. I'll show it to you again. Now we have one from Alfredo. We can even put that one up later on. If Joe gives me the numbers, I can put it up here the same way. Here's what we learned. And I want to really go into what we learned last week. So one thing we learned is monster rolls are rare. They happen, right? We got one from Alfredo here. We got a couple of, I think Corey had a 50 roller. Joe said somebody else had a 40-something roller. Alfredo, of course, had the big 63 roller. They happen. How many sessions, Alfredo, I'll ask you the question directly since I know you're here. How many sessions did it take all the time you were there? How many shooters went between monster rolls, right? You had Corey's, you had yours, you had a couple others, right? You had whatever there were, 5. Let's say there was 5 of them. How many shooters didn't have a monster out of the 5 that you saw, right? Probably 100, maybe more, of all told, the whole table, everybody else, right? At least 100, and I'm saying shooters or, point attempts were there. Before that, they don't happen very often. They happen, right? And as Joe will attest to, you aren't always there when they happen, right? And as we saw with Big AZ's monster roll, they aren't always great. 51 roller there on that show that he put out, and it wasn't an amazing roll. It was an okay-ish roll. Like it was, no number went gangbusters. Like what makes a monster to me is when when one number goes nuclear. You get like 11 sixes and 40 rolls or something. That's when you go, whoa. Or like Adam had like the 9 10s that one day, right? That's when a monster is monstrous, right? When it's all spread out, they aren't always great. And of course you don't know in advance, right? That's the big takeaway. You don't know in advance. We knew it in advance, so we put bets out there or strategies out there that were always intended to capitalize on a monster and say, well, okay, well, how do they do in an actual monster? And that's why we did that. Here's my learnings from the week. And they aren't anything new. I'm going to repeat them for you. This is stuff we knew already, but we proved it this week. Number 1, optimize your strategy to be early safely. Okay? Early safety is what I say here. 2 to 3 hits max, get your money out. Get your money off that table in 2 to 3 hits, not so much rolls. 2 to 3 numbers being hit, you got to be out of the hand. You got to be money back in your rack. Okay. This weekend I played I did the 130 across, up and down. I did that all weekend, and for 7 shooters in a row, we got our 2 box hits. Right, up, pull the $50, $80 in the rack, 64 across. Right. 2 rolls out every single time. That's a beautiful way to play, because then you feel like, okay, I just don't care what happens anymore. You want to have that safety net early safety net. Then I say the next optimization you make is for early profit. So you want to be 6 hits max, get your goal. And I put a question here for you, a session goal or a shooter goal. Now, if I buy in for $1,000, right, and I'm at a 10% pull, if I can get my $100 out of a shooter, fantastic, we're done for the day, and I can just play for fun. But you may have just a 10%, and think about this, 10% per shooter. If I buy in for 130, right, and I make $15 on this shooter, that's my 10% for that shooter. You could be done on that shooter and let it happen. So 66 to 88 and out, that's $66 in, that's $50 off the table. That's almost 100% profit on that shooter. When you pull that move off, think about that. So shooter profit, session profit, 2 different things. And how you want to manage your rack is up to you, but you got to be there quick. You got to be there within 6 rolls. You have to be. Then you optimize for opportunity. And I always talk to you guys about 3-phase play. Get even, get a little bit up, and then you're going to decide what you're going to do. You can leave or you can have a hammer plan. Either way. The ways that I played last week are hammer plans. They should not be attempted until you're at that second level. Got even, got up, now I go tier pressure. Got even, got up, now I go press to black. Got even, got up, now it's triple lux, right? To me, the first 2 phases are what everybody freaking misses. Everybody skips phase 1, get even. Everybody skips phase 2, lock up profit. They all just jump into phase 3. And last week I did a phase 3 jump. Let's just see what happens on a miracle. Right? That's the wrong way to play. You got to get even, you got to get up, and then you got to go hard. Or you got to get even, get up, and go home. Either way. But that's how you play a monster the right way. That way, when the monster comes and you're at roll 6, yeah, you're behind. You're a couple of presses behind, where you could be. Opportunity is a little bit lower. But since you don't know what's coming, you're set up better on all the non-monsters. All the 97 rolls that happened before the monster roll happened, you made 15 bucks, 20 bucks, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, lost whatever, right? You're eking that thing out until that thing happens. If you just go balls in every single time, right? That's when you're having problems. Optimize early to be even and be up slightly, okay? Hey, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, he's so much calmer. The new dog is so much calmer now. Yeah, he's getting better. He actually jumped up on Ian a little bit yesterday, but he's doing really good. Let's see what else we have to talk about. Oh, playing the monster. So here's the monster. Again, I'm going to show it to you again. I'm just going to show it to you so you can see it. Here's the big 51 roller that we were talking about all last week. I'm going to jump in though and really get into like, what are we looking at? So sequence 1, that right there is the first roll. If you look at the first roll, the 8 to the 8, that's this first sequence. That's your get even sequence, right? What strategy do you have or ways you can play where you can guarantee yourself to be even after that roll? Because remember, this 8 could have been a 7. Most shooters are going to set a point, hit a couple of numbers, and this is perfect, right? They set their point. It's number, and then a stupid field number that you don't get paid on, right? How do you get even in that hand, right? When I'm playing my tier pressure way, which is the 6 rolls, right? And it goes from 30 to 60, and the 4 rolls here, and it goes from 25 to 50, and the second 4 rolls, and I get paid 100, I'm out and I'm up, right? I get a repeater bet, done, I'm out, right? I like the tier pressure way of getting up and out because if it works, you're typically out of the hand and you've got profit locked at the same time. If you're playing it more skill 66 style, that looks more like a press in here, right? That's your inside press, that's 66 to 88. When the 8 winner happens, you got your money back. And now you're down ready for sequence 2 with 44 inside. If you're going to do skill 66, if you're going to be at 110, pressed up and come back down, now you can go 64 across, or you can go 66 inside, whatever you want to do. But this one takes the full baloney to get even, the skill 66 style. The tier press style takes 2 rolls and you're even and out. But that's the biggest thing. That sequence 1, getting even before that 8 comes, that second 8, which could probably be a 7. That's a 6 roller. That's typical, right about average, right? The average person's 8.5 is the average roll length for most people. So about 4 rolls in total is the mean on that, right? You're looking at most of the time, you're gonna be at 4. This is a perfect example of a roll that you should be profiting on. And if it hits this point, you're like, hell yeah, man, hit the point. Now you're in sequence 2, right? This is good, right? We got even here, right? We made money. Now in number 2, what are you gonna do in sequence 2? How are you gonna turn that into guaranteed locked profit? Every roll up in here, right, has to lock in profit. Because if you're gonna be, guaranteeing yourself a profit on the shooter, let's say you only got to even. Let's say here we are even after this guy. Down here, half press, half press, half press, half press, half press. Well, not that one. Nothing there. Half press. Right? That's going to be if you're at 64 bucks across, right? You're bringing back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. You bought them for $1,000 and you got even in the first roll and you got down here, you're at 5% profit or 50% of your goal, 5% total profit. Now you can say, cool, I feel good about that. I brought back 50 bucks. I got even early. I brought back an extra, maybe this one here is even plus like mine, even plus 50, right? I got 100 bucks in my rack. I'm good, man. Like this guy's doing great. We got even, we got a little bit up. We half pressed our way up. We're in great shape. This point here, what do? I would regress to something normal, take me back to 96 across or 160 or whatever it's gonna be. And now you go get some. So you look at your play at a table in a sequence of shooters or a sequence of happenings, right? Set a point, I got to get even. Okay, set a point. I got to get up a little bit. Set a point, go home with my money, or now I can go and it's okay. That's the sequence you have got to follow. Now, again, on this, what I'm showing you here, granted, if we go back a screen and look at the monster, now again, I cherry picked it. I cherry picked this one, and the end is what I showed you there as, sequence 1, whoops, 1, my pen's not working well, 2, and this is number 3. All of this stuff in here is an unknown. You don't know that's going to happen. We don't know that in the middle is going to happen. You're set up for it though. You got to be set up for it. So important to be set up for that role. And again, you might be here. Let's take these first 2 out of it, right? You might be here and you have, let's say you've got $150 in the rack. Get your money back. You're up 150. Everybody else has got, 500 across, or they've all pressed up to 750 across. And you're like, well, shit. All I've got is $96 out there. But I got 150 in my rack, and I feel pretty good about that. And that's conservative Johnny, right? If the 7 comes, right, if this guy goes 4 hard, 7 out, you're ahead of everybody else, right? You'll be the one that has profit versus the rest of the table. However, if the roll goes longer, like all this, you're behind, but this is still in here. If you're playing this aggressively with a who cares attitude, that's still $1,000 or $2 in there. There's still about $1,000 in those rolls if that thing keeps going. Super important to understand that. To me, I will forego the $7,000 win in favor of locking up a few hundred and then taking $2,000 off the table. I'm okay with that because I know that most of the time I'm bringing back 100, 100, 100, 100, $2,000. I'm not losing 100, losing 100, losing 100, losing 100, winning 7 on a miracle. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking more regular. So that's my way. And I think that the monster from AZ shows us that, which is pretty cool. All right, so reviewing last week's strategies. The 130 up and down was this. We did 110 inside, $10, 4 and 10. The 4 and 10 were basically ATS money to me. That's bonus babies. They're going to a quarter out of the gate and getting half pressed from there. The insides, we go from 110. I did a $44 press on the inside. So, I had to drop $9 to get the 44. So it goes to 154 in there. Everything pays 50 for 1 and we're out. The second inside hit, done, right? It's $54, right? That goes to 44 inside. I pulled back all that money, the 110 plus the winnings. I have my rack back plus $50 in profit, plus I'm playing a 64 across. That's the 110, 130 up and down. That worked really well on the big roll. It generated about $2,000, $1,900. It earned about $1,100, which is what you'd expect because we're only half pressing. Half pressing is nice, but it doesn't make you $1 million. And we burned about half of what it generated. This is a big burn because you're half pressing and you're bringing money back, but you're leaving a lot of money on the felt. So we left about half the money that it worked on the felt, still earned about $1,100. Philly Special, we took a lot of heat for because it took too long to get going. Broke one of the rules, right? We got even early. We got even on the first roll, just like that. We got the fours banged for us. We got even right away. No, I'm lying to you. We got even on the second roll. It took us 8 rolls to get even because we didn't get the repeaters. Then it took us the whole rest of that second shooter to get up by that 10%. It took us a long time to get quote unquote set up. That was the knock on the Philly press, the Philly Special. However, after that, it did great, right? We earned $2,000, double the half presser. It generated more money than the half press, and it burned less money because it collects so frequently, right? It collects, and the build rate is pretty slow. We actually didn't burn only about 30% of our money. It was a great strategy, but it takes too long to get going. So this one especially, do not start the Philly Special until you've already achieved phase 1 and phase 2. Even up, now I go Philly Special, and then we're gonna shoot the ceiling. That's a good way to do it. The next one was the tier pressure. This one was one of my favorite ways to play. I love tier pressure. It's hard to deal though. That's why I don't really play it much in the casino unless I'm alone. It's hard to deal this one because you're full press, even the bet's out, full press, and it's a lot of work for a dealer. So, but look what it did. In the same set of rolls, it generated about $5,000 in revenue. generated $5,000. That's a lot of money. We brought back 3,500 of that. We only burned 30%. That's a great strategy. That thing built those bets up nice and high, big giant collections. Remember the one time we we got the 4 hits and the double shot in the middle there, and we brought back like $1,500 off in one roll. That was beautiful. And then we left a good set of money. That's a great strategy, but it's hard. It's hard to the dealers. And again, it takes a while to get going. It does not make money right away. It takes the full 6 or 7 rolls to make its first bit where it gets even and up. It takes a good 6 hits to get there. You burn a lot on this one. Never play the tier pressure until you're already even or up. Never, 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 never go out playing tier pressure. It's great when you're there and you're playing with excess. It's not so great coming out of the gate. But as far as burn rate goes, it did great. It generated a ton of money. It was beautiful. Then we did the full aggression, press to color, right? We didn't collect anything until we saw a black chip coming back. We collected nothing else until we saw purple chips coming back. This was like, motorcycle on the freeway kind of a thing, right? Generated $6,200. Of course, right? All that money out there, that pulled a ton of money off the dealer racks. It was great. We brought back $5,500 or $3,500. Actually, it brought back the same amount of money as tier pressure did. But it burned 45% of what, there was a lot of money out there. It burned 45%. But it's good to see that this thing can generate $6,000 on that roll. And again, we're starting at 130. We're not starting at like $1 billion. We're starting at a low 130 and generated $6,200. That's amazing for that little tiny starting gate. Did really good. And again, on not a great roll. The monster roll there only had 20-something box hits. It's not like it's a lot of chances to make money. This thing did a really, really solid job. And if you want to be aggressive, again, starting from 0, that's a great way to play. I've got a better way to do this, by the way. I'm coming up on, I think, Friday Follies. We're going to do a thing called the Jayhawk Hammer. You're going to love it. It's a very aggressive way to play. It's a lot like this, but there's more collections built into it. So I think you'll like that one. And the final thing we did was the Molly. We went math guy on you on Friday, and we did a $10 come bet, max odds. If a come bet or the place bet won, back up $5, a little $15. Max odds on $15, max odds on $20, and we kind of built it up. This thing generated $2,100, and it brought back, how much did it bring back? $1,955. We only burned 15% of the bankroll. Isn't that amazing? Because when you're come betting, you're not pressing to the ceiling. The bets themselves are their own presses, right? So there's not a lot of money ever out there. Early, it feels like you got a lot of money out there. You win a couple of those bets, and it's like, yeah, the bets are paying for themselves. And because come betting automatically brings your bet back to you, you're not leaving a bunch of money out there, right? Let's say you have a $20 come bet with whatever, 120 in odds on it. That's a lot of money. When it pays, it comes to you. You have to put, now you're putting a quarterback out there. You're not just pressing from 120 to 180 and letting it burn. You got to restart the process. Seems like it's a handicap. In actuality, it's a great way to play, because it forces you to put money in your rack every single. I like the fact that it forces the money to your rack. You got to make a decision. So that thing worked fantastically. It was really, really good. On that roll, we had enough repeaters for it to make money, and it was great. That's the reason why I was on the fence of what to do this week for the paycheck. This convinced me. I'm like, I'm doing this for the paycheck. We're going to go paycheck style with the Molly. Even on the short rolls, if you look back, way back at the earlier rolls, that thing made money on shooter 1. Where's shooter 1? Shooter 1 here had the hard 4s back to back and the pass line. 8 with max odds and a 4 with max odds. Both of those bets paid. If you're playing daily paycheck, you're done for the day. That was a $25 bet down here, or in our case, a $10 bet with 60 in odds on it. That pays, or 50 in odds, that pays 60 plus 10 is $70. Same thing here. That was $10 with 30, also pays $70. That's $140. You're done for the day. Plus the $11 in the come, right? That was a $150 roll. First shooter, out. Bye-bye, right? Come betting can work really well if you have even a modicum of a decent roll to come out. So we're doing that this month. That was the convincer for me. I'm like, it's time to pull the Molly out. Let's do that and have some fun. So there we go. JR says there's no shame in money on the felt. And I agree with that, right? There's no shame with that, right? Don't don't optimize and say, oh, I left so much out there. Like, I don't judge a strategy by how much it left out there, and I don't judge you by how much you left out there. There are definitely tiers though. You can say, whatever. When I got, let's make a number. Let's say that between all the pressing I've got, I end up with like $835 out there, some random ass number. Okay, cool. That's because you got things in all these random spots. There's nothing wrong with going, make me look like 640 and bring back 150 bucks. So it's even numbers, good size bets, pull back a couple $100. Press them all up. And if you're still in the monster and you're like, okay, that's a lot of money out there. Okay, fine. Bring me back to 1200 across, right? Or 1280 across, and take another 500 bucks off the table. You have like nice tiers that you can regress these big bets down to like a nice tier. It's okay. If you leave money out there and you're satisfied with what you pulled back, that's okay. Be satisfied with it. So many times I'm like, I got, 2K out there on the felt right now. But I look down, I go, but I pulled back 2,500. That's a home run. That 2,500 to me is huge. That's a mortgage payment. Like, I'm happy with that, right? If I'm squirrely, I can say, I'll take that and make it 4,000. And I'm like really happy with that. But if I'm happy with my 2,500, then I'm okay to let what's out there burn. If you're not happy enough with this, that you need to have, if you need to have that, take it down. There's no shame in that either. Either way, I don't judge you. I would judge you if you left 5,000 out there and brought nothing back. If you just pressed the table max and never took a thing back, that'd be a dumbass play. But if you're collecting and you're regressing and doing your thing and you got 2K and 2K, and you burn the 2K that's out there, I would never judge you that, right? I would never judge that. All right, here we go. Jen, of course, disagrees, and I love it that you disagree because more money in the felt than you brought back is a failure, says Jen. And I don't disagree with that unless your goal was to shoot the ceiling, right? I don't know how else I can say it, but for me, if I brought back 2K, I'm like loving my 2K, and I can walk with that and be satisfied, I don't know. That money out there, that's opportunity. That's opportunity money. I don't play the stock market, and I don't empty out my brokerage accounts whenever I show profit. Like, I leave that money working for me in there. To me, it's the same sort of thing. I leave the money working where I can. Craps is way more volatile. In the stock market, you don't get one day and you lose all your money like you do in craps. But when you're working off profit like that, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to judge you. I wouldn't do it. I pull back. I will progressively regress and rebuild, regress and rebuild. I'm not typically a shoot for the table max person, unless it's a great roll and unless you're at a table where your max is a tiny max. So there you go. There you go. I think we're done. I think my final thoughts. Let me check PCs. I didn't necessarily go through them very well today, but there aren't many of them. Let's see. Dave P says, which strategy did Larry Latterson 678 for a paycheck? I'll tell you what, the 678 outperformed it, and we only had bad sessions twice, both times because of me. The times we made the paycheck, we ground out a paycheck in the 678 probably, I'm going to say 7 or 8 times. It was a real fight to get the paycheck. Most of the times it was pretty easy, and you think about, like, even with the EZ, you're $75 in 3 rolls, you're $75 in 3 rolls, and you're done for the day. Like, it was actually simple. The Latterson, when it gets behind and it has to work, there were multiple days, probably 10 days, where it took us over 100 rolls to get the paycheck. That thing fought. It did a good job, but it fought really hard. It fought way too hard. And we kept messing around with, like, odds or no odds, big flats or small. We never caught it right. We never really dialed that thing in. I like the flats that progressively grow, full size, but you need a bigger bankroll for that. On a good shooter, and we had too many good shooters that week, I think it was hell. I hated it the whole time I was playing it. I liked the strategy, but in the moment, it was really, really hard. It was hard to make paycheck. And I felt like every day I dreaded going out there and going, is today going to be the day where I grind out for 200 rolls again? I just didn't want that to happen. And that one to me felt too hard. The 678 felt easy, even though there was a couple days where it was a little bit of work. But overall, it felt pretty, like, I never doubted we were going to get paycheck. I was surprised the 2 days we didn't. I was really shocked we didn't get Paycheck. That was like the first time a strategy surprised me was those 2 days. Yeah. Connor says it took 25 rolls for the first K. Which one are you talking about on this one? Are you talking about one of the tier pressure Philly specials? I think the Philly special was like that. It took us almost half that 51 rolls before we got into it. Like that one, the Philly special is great when you're getting repeat numbers. You got to get 5s and 9s to hit 4, 5, 6 times. You got to get the 4s and 10s to repeat. If they're not getting repeaters in the Philly special, you're going to just cake it away. That thing requires, because it's basically full press on the 5, collect. Full press on the 5, collect. If you're not getting press and collect, if you're never getting that collect, it burns. I played it this weekend, and honestly, I went from 44 inside. I went 66 to 44 a couple times. Took that $10 9 to 25. We hit it. We go down to 20, make it look like 50, hit it, make it look like 40, hit it, take it to 100. I got to there 3 or 4 different times this weekend. Never hit the 100, but I started it from 10 and I got it to 100. If I had started it at 20 or 40 like I normally do on a 130, that would have been at $300, right? But you're not getting the repeaters. That big AZ roll did not have the repeaters in it. It just didn't have enough repeaters to get those things to pay. That's why that strategy struggled. It struggled hard on a really good roll. It's a hit or miss, man. Press and collect is hit or miss. And I think the half press to me is more resilient and more regular, but the ceiling is a lot smaller. So it's up to you. You want a high ceiling, play Philly special, play press to color. You want a regular, rhythmic collection, go half press. If you want to play math style, like today, go Molly. Go Molly. All right. That's it, folks. My final thoughts are this. Thanks again for watching. We have how many people? 45 people here on a holiday. You guys are awesome. Thanks for letting me rant a little bit about the way to play these roles. I think it's important that we Monday morning quarterback our own play last week and last month. I think we have to look backwards at that. Now we're going to look forward. And we're going to take each of these things that we did today in series. Tomorrow, we're going to talk only about getting out of the hand, all the ways to get out quick. Wednesday, we're going to talk about all the ways to get up quick. So once you've gotten out of the hand, how do you lock that profit up and what's your first regression or your first reset? Thursday, we're going to talk about once you're there, what are we going to do? How are we going to pedal it down and get the money out of the table or make our decision? Friday, we got Friday Follies, but it's not a Friday Folly. It won't be a crazy strategy. It's going to be a 120 inside starting point. That's it. 120 inside. Take it to the house. It's a take it to the house strategy called the J. Alec Hammer, and it comes to us from a friend of ours that you all know and love. I will explain more on Friday, but that's what's going to happen Friday. All right? There's my week. I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody relax, get your barbecues in, drive safe if you're driving home in all the crazy traffic, and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, be in the garage in 5 minutes. God bless y'all. Peace. Bye.